I had to change how I was living, so I changed the way I eat, changed the way I felt, so I could change the way I speak. I stopped listening to music that was changing how I think. Then I put the liquor down, was time to change the way I drink. Please don't take it personal, I'm taking care of me. Stressing about my future, it was messing up my sleep. Accepted all my losses, gave myself the space to grieve. Finally changed the things I wanted, now I know just what I need. You ain't living if you don't grow. Don't be afraid of what you don't know. There ain't no
Welcome to Becoming Her with Ashley Martin, a space for the woman who's ready to heal, grow, and step into her next level. Here, we talk healing, transformation, and the journey to becoming the woman you were always meant to become. I'm your host, Ashley Martin, and together we are becoming. Before we get into today's episode, I want you guys to take a deep breath. So, on the count of 3, we're going to take a deep breath together. 1, 2, 3. That breath is a reminder that we are still here. So even in the midst of everything that is going on in this world, remember to just take a breath, especially when you feel overwhelmed. Speaking of feeling overwhelmed, this episode is for the woman who is feeling overwhelmed right now, for all of us, men and women. Today, so much is happening. So much is going on with our government. We are still in the midst of a government shutdown. We are gearing up for the holidays and just all of the things that make us feel like we are being stretched to the max. But again, your reminder, take a deep breath when things feel hard, when they feel overwhelmed, because our minds have a way of creating new pathways, especially when we are dealing with prolonged stress. And this is the season for all of that. You can expect to feel stress, especially with everything that I just mentioned, with all of the things that are going on. So people are dealing with really some hard issues, some hard challenges, some real life issues. And so remember that when you are dealing with prolonged stress, your mind, this is wild to me, but our brains have a way of rewiring. And our brains have a way of rewiring and creating new pathways to help us adapt and survive. So in the midst of all of the things that you are going through or someone you love is going through, remember to not panic, but just practice patience, because when we decide to practice the latter, when we decide to practice patience, our brain, there's a thing called neuroplasticity, where again, our brain creates these new neural pathways, and it is like our body's response of helping us to deal with the new challenges or whatever it is that we're faced with that may be something that is hard. Just remember that our bodies are capable of creating everything that we need, healing our bodies. So our bodies help to heal itself is what I am trying to convey, and got a little tongue tied there. But that is what I want you guys to remember, that in the midst of all of the things that are going through, remember that we have what we need. Everything that we need, it is here. It is in the inside of us. So trust yourself, trust your ability to overcome anything that may feel like a huge challenge. And speaking of challenges, in the same way we deal with all of these things that sometimes feels like a burden, we must remember that when we are dealing with some of the hardest things, life, that is like a classroom. So the hard times, let it be your classroom, because in the classroom, during those hard times, we learn ourselves. We've remembered the things that we forgot about ourselves. We are reintroduced to our ability to be resourceful. So even if you feel like you don't have it all together, just trust yourself and your inner ability to create what you need. Remember patience. Remember that it is okay to not have it all figured out. Sometimes we have so much on our shoulders where we feel like we just have to have it all figured out. We have to have it all, we have to get it done. But some of the things that have helped me along the way when dealing with, some of the hardest challenges in my own life, just having routines. And so for me, journaling, praying, taking walks, those are the things that help me stay in a flow of not only gratitude, but a way of just balancing my body and reminding me that my outer world or the physical experience may be one thing, but that my inner world is the most important. And that if I practice those things like journaling, meditating, prayer, walking, those things help me to stay grounded. In the same way, community. If you have a community of people, that could be a friend, that could be a therapist, that could be a podcast like this one here. We have to stay connected. We have to remember that in all times, but especially during these times, community matters most. So remember that you are not alone. You have a community of people. And I know that sometimes we see things and we get messages like, you can't trust anybody. And I don't necessarily agree with that. Of course, some people can't be trusted. Some people have hidden agendas and ill intentions, but we must remember that there are still so many good, trustworthy people. So never think that all people are the same. It's just like racism, how a certain group will look at another group and think that, oh, just because their skin is brown, they're all thieves. They're all, people who are lazy. That is not true. We can't box any one thing in. So in the same way, all people are not the same. All people are not liars and, untrustworthy. So find your group, find your tribe, find your village, and keep them near. And in the times that you're going through and the times that things are going well, keep your community together, because community helps us to, I would say, it helps us, help us to stay tethered in hope. So that is just one of the things. And another thing I would say to help you stay grounded, and especially in this season, again, we're gearing up for the holidays. We're dealing with a lot of things. For some, they've been out of work for not out of work, not getting a paycheck for almost a month now. Speaking of the in regard to the federal employees, so my prayers go out to all of them. And if any federal employee is watching this or listening to this podcast, I want you to, again, take all of the things that I just mentioned and you apply it to your life. During this time, may be a time for you to reinvent yourself. Maybe this had to happen for you to wake up to your own resourcefulness. So don't just concentrate and focus on this stream of income is not coming in. Tap into that dream and that thing that you've been wanting to do for so long. And maybe this job or that job has been, taking you away from focusing on the dreams and the things that you wanted to do 10 years ago. Maybe this is the time. Maybe this is your wake up time, your wake up call. So keep the faith, keep the hope, and just remember that the soil doesn't apologize for being dark because it knows what it's holding. Like in the same way, don't ever feel like this dark period, if that's what you feel, like, oh, this is a dark time and I'm going through so much, don't let this dark time make you feel like the world is just caving in on you. Again, what's the soil hold so much. Seeds are planted and all of the things. So much magic happens in the dark. So allow this time to be a time that you look back on this time that you're currently living in and say, I understand why it had to happen this way. I understand why it had to happen. And I believe that is exactly where you will be. You'll look back on this period and you will thank yourself for not giving up. You will thank yourself for going the extra mile, for staying disciplined, for keeping the faith, for doing all of the things that help you to stay grounded. And finally, one of the things that have worked for me has been to release. Release. Releasing timelines, releasing the idea of what I feel like my life should have looked like by now, releasing other people's approval. That's the biggest thing. Releasing other people's approval, realizing that this is my life and I am going to be unapologetically awesome, extraordinary, all of the things. I am going to step into what I am and who I am and be unapologetic for it all. So releasing other people's approval and releasing all of the things that quite naturally don't serve you on this journey. A lot of times we feel obligated to answer the call, respond to the text message, attend the event when we are trying to get some things resolved, on the inside. So make this period, especially since we're gearing up to the season, the holiday season, and the weather changes and, the holiday blues. That stuff is real, but remember that certain practices can truly keep you grounded. And I was looking at a study, or reading a study that mentioned laughter. And I know we've all heard how laughter is, the medicine, but there was a study done that included laughter, that included the ability to calm your body, to release serotonin and dopamine, release those things that help us to be happy when we just laugh. Our body sends out all of those hormones. So, laughter is truly, our medicine. It is truly medicine to our bodies. So I want to remind you that there are so many tools, so many things that you could use to help you get out of the holiday blues and get out of, feeling overwhelmed. Just allow your body to do what it needs to do. And I need to also include rest. Rest is also, one of the most important things. So as you feel, all of the things that you need to do, I want you to remember to honor your body through rest. Our body releases immune cells and all of those things, especially when we're sick, when we rest. So honor your body in that way. Honor your body in that way. As we bring this episode to a close, I want to remind you that the timelines, the to-do lists, the stress, the kids, the spouse, all of the things that you just feel sometimes overwhelming. Remember that you are responsible for yourself. You're responsible for yourself and how you respond. And in order to respond in the most healthy ways to all of the demands that are placed on us, we have to ensure that our minds and our bodies and our spirits, because all of that is interconnected, we have to remind ourselves that we have to be balanced, we have to be grounded. So if you or someone you know has been feeling overwhelmed, has been out of work, has been in working and not getting paid, share this with them. Share this with them in hopes that perhaps I've provided some tools that will remind them that I need to tap back into journaling. I need to walk. I need to remember that when it's rough, just take a deep breath. That's my body's way of resetting. So share this with them. And if you found it helpful yourself, let's keep the conversation going. I want you to share with me how this conversation, how this episode made you feel. Drop some inspiration and encouragement for others. Perhaps drop some of the things that have worked in your own life. You can find me on Facebook at Becoming Her with Ashley Martin. You can find me on TikTok and Instagram at Becoming with Ashley. And let's keep the conversation going. And last but not least, I want you to stay grounded. I want you to stay reminded that you're not behind. You are simply becoming. Bye for now.